Do I believe in the Cleveland Guardians offense? I sure do, and so should you after they put 13 runs across today.
Tanner Bibee of the Guardians, and you're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It was Christmas in July down at the ballpark on Monday night, and the Guardians, they came with some presents, and the Minnesota Twins got a giant lump of coal bashed over their head every single inning. The Guardians scored in every single inning of this game,
except for the
one pitch, except for the one pitch by a position player, because baseball is just wonderful. But what is wonderful is we've got a great game to talk about finally on this show, which is Locked On Guardians. So when they have a game that makes you want to puke like Sunday, you get a game that tastes like a nice cold glass of Christmas ale, or I guess in Jeff's case, eggnog, not my case.
Yeah.
Here on Locked On Guardians, your only daily Cleveland Guardians podcast. Talk about the team every day, from the majors, the minors, the draft, everything in between. We always manage to touch on 2 or 3 of those in each single episode. That is Jeff Ellis, host the show for 8 years. I'm Justin Lada. Been here for 4, and we've both been covering the Guardians minor league system for the last 19 years. We'll get into where else the Guardians can find trades. We'll talk more trade strategy, as we will up until the deadline. We do have to get into whether or not Kyle Manzardo is in some trouble after this game, after this weekend. But we have to start off with a great game that was a perfect palate cleanser from this Pirates series over the weekend. And of course, this episode is not possible without Game Time. Down the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Get yourself a Guardians ticket and go see. Let's see, you're better at math than I am. So that's $20 off for 6 home runs. How much are you saving per home run, Jeff?
$320-ish per home run.
Yeah, you're paying
at least $3.
Yeah, you're saving $3 off every home run for the Guardians, is what we're saying here, because one of us is good at math, the other one is good at being.
Well, I think it's what, $3.33. Is that essentially like where we're going with it? I think. But yeah, I could be wrong. That's quick head math.
It is quick math. I'm still kind of in shock over this one. I was at the game tonight, and I think I texted you and I texted some other people, and I was like, "Oh, good, clean up Brian Rocchio. That's fun." Like, he's hit cleanup on Sunday, didn't work out. He hit cleanup on Monday, and what did he do? He took a Joe Ryan fastball to right field, and I think that was one of the harder hit balls of the day, because it was a 102 off the bat and 383 feet. I mean, that's a home run in all 30 ballparks. I did not see that coming. And then Rhys Hoskins followed that up with a home run too that was 401 feet.
And neither of those should happen because, if you listen to the broadcast, you heard Hammy say, if he said it once, he said it a million times, that the Twins have the best offense in the American League. And that, they talked about in that specific, how they trade defense for offense. And they should have had a double play. The ball gets misplayed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's like, and then Rocchio gets hit.
The Lada grounder, right?
So the Lada grounder. And then, like afterwards, like we're feeling great. We're texting him like, wow, a 3-run lead for Tanner. It's got to feel huge. And then Chase the Lada badly misplays a ball in right field. And all of a sudden it's 3-2. And you're like, oh, great. Here we go. Like, because this Twins offense, it's as Tom Hamilton said many times, it's the best offense in the American League.
Okay, we should bring the caveat up with that, is that they are 8th. They have the 8th best offense in baseball by runs scored alone. It's the only metric you grade by is runs. But the other 7 teams in front of them are National League teams, including playoff teams that aren't playoff teams, like the Nationals and the Rockies, which is hilarious. So,
and the Nationals are in the hunt, in fairness to them.
Okay, fine. The Rockies, I guess, are the Rockies.
Yeah,
they
the
play
Rockies.
and
not in a baseball. In baseball hell, basically, for pitching. But then they just kept piling on. And I gotta be honest, I wanted to run in the 8th, so they had one in every inning. I was hoping they would get one across.
Petey tried. He took a big swing against Alex Jackson, and that ball was 350. I think he needed like another 15 feet, but it was right in front of the wall, I think.
Yeah, and like the other crazy thing, it's like, so I do my little box score baseball after every game, and I was sitting there and telling Justin, I think it's pretty easy that you go with the guys who had multi-home runs, and then you got to give it to Tanner, because if the ball was properly played and right, he doesn't give up any runs in this game. By the way, side note for Tanner, this gave him his 12th quality start. That ties him for second best in the American League with Cam S of the Yankees, whose name I'm not going to risk saying on air, And then Michael Wacha has the most quality starts in baseball. Like Tanner had a rough start, but now we're talking about him as, the most quality starts, second most quality starts in the American League. If Chase just gets to that ball, plays it on the bounce, it might just be a single and then nothing comes of it. No runs at all. So,
yeah.
But that means, so like DeLauder, Halpin, Bazana, like lots of guys who would normally lead off a 3 stars.
Patrick Bailey had 4 hits. He's not even
hits. And a home, dead center homer.
Yeah.
Bailey, by the way, if anyone who plays every day since he came to the team, has the fastest bat on this team by a fair margin. Now, Gabby Arias does have the fastest bat, but he doesn't play every day. So, but yeah, those two
were on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. People get mad at just mentioning his name, but like those two, just Bailey, it's great, and the bullpen was mediocre, and then, but they had the huge lead, and it was a lot of fun. Halpin, first home run,
he pitched to the scoreboard.
Yeah, and then he hits a second home run, and one of those was like the highest ball hit this year for a home run at over 4 feet off the ground because Halpin expands the zone, right? Like that's what he does. So, but I mean, what can you say? Everyone reached base. Everyone did their job in this game except for David Fry,
who replaced Kyle Manzardo, who we'll talk about.
Who then came segment. Up? He got it. Did he get a double? Yeah, he hit a double. So it was kind of interesting. I'm like, why are you pinch hitting for Quan? I feel like when he's hot, just let the guy don't mess with his head.
He was pinch hitting for. Well, David Fry went to left, so I guess he was. I don't know.
Yeah, it's for Quan.
Yeah, it's for Quan. Because David Fry had gone to left. I also want to point out too. I know we were kind of going back and forth on this, that whether or not the Guardians, like if Joe Ryan was tipping his pitches, because first of all, the stat you texted me floored me was that he came into this game with 10 home runs allowed, right? You said
10. So
and Joe Ryan's an all-star. Like I would.
That's another failed Tampa trade that everyone forgets about.
Oh yeah, that was
it was for Nelson Cruz, who did not play great for them down the stretch.
No. So true or false? Joe Ryan is the second best pitcher in the American League, right behind Tarek Skubal.
False.
Who's second?
Well, I mean, Skubal and Cam would be the top 2 guys.
Cam and I'm sorry, the AL Central.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well,
just the AL Central. Is it Skubal and Joe Ryan? Like who's ahead of Joe Ryan? Casey Mize has had a great year when he's healthy, but
he has. It's the same thing with gosh, I'm having brain cramps. You got Lugo. I mean, I might put Wacha. Raggins is hurt. Right. It's like I might put Wacha ahead of him.
Joe Ryan's an all-star though.
I mean, wasn't Wacha this year as well?
He might have been. You're right. Either way.
And
either way, Joe Ryan.
He's no worse than third.
Yeah, terrific pitcher. So we're debating whether or not was he tipping his pitches. I mean, I think that if anything, I could say maybe the Guardians were just sitting fastball with him because 3 of the 6 home runs he allowed were on fastballs. The Petey Halpin one, the second Petey Halpin one, I don't even know if you can count because again, it was above his head. Like, I don't even know what you do with that. Honestly, that's like, those are home runs that have been hit off like Tanner and Gavin. And we're just like, what do you do? Like, it wasn't even a strike. He got a good swing. But he hung a sweeper to Rhys Hoskins. He threw a sinker in on Rhys Hoskins in almost the same exact spot. But Bailey was off the bullpen, but Bazana, Halpin the first one, and then who hit the other home run? Was Petey's first?
Bazana,
Rocchio. They were all fastballs. So like, the only thing I can say is maybe the Guardians were just sitting dead red on Joe Ryan. Like he's got a hard fastball to hit though, because he has that low approach angle. It's almost like an invisible fastball because of the way it moves when it comes to the plate. And like hitters this year were hitting out his fastball at his 4-seam. They were hitting 231 with a 390 slug. Like hitters were not really doing a good job off his fastball. Like he'll have 5 home runs this year, and 3 of them tonight were fastballs.
Tonight he gave up 38% of his home runs for the entire year came tonight. 38%, nearly 40% of all the home runs he gave up. Now, just in terms of games this year, they had 21 base runners. That's the second highest amount this year. They're actually tied with that. The game where they beat KC 8-5, most base runners is 22. That was the 14-run game against the Athletics. So this was their, I think we forget that game existed, but this is their second kind of big time game in terms of, it just massive runs scored. I think this might be just the second time all year they have broke 10 runs. So it was, and the pitching wasn't. I mean, Tanner was good. The bullpen was not. Like, I mean, they had 13 base runners of their own on the other side because the bullpen did give up a lot of hits, a lot of guys on base. Tanner only allowed 7 base runners through 6 innings.
4 hits and 2 walks from the bullpen in 3 innings.
I mean, that's 2 base runners in innings. So that not ideal.
It's not great. No.
But yeah, it's overall, it's like, again, you can't really get too mad about anything in this one. And then
David Fry started first base and went 0 for 5.
We got to talk about that.
About the guy that didn't play first.
We got to talk about Manzardo, and we got to talk about the weird spot the Twins are in for tomorrow's game as well.
Oh, yes, which is good news for the Guardians. A couple more things on this offense. Yeah, Manzardo, the Twins, and then we got more trades to talk about. Can't wait for that. Jeff's got a good one that we've been waiting for since yesterday. I was at the game on Monday night against the Twins, and you could have been there as well if you would have checked out Game Time, because there's nothing like being there live. I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun to be there in person on Monday night. The problem is getting tickets to games like that, or hot concert tickets, anything else that goes on in the summer. Those are always huge buys, but Game Time is the app that gives advantage back to fans. With constant innovation, you can unlock amazing tickets and experiences. Just a few taps. Simple to use. You get 100% authentic tickets on time, part of the Game Time guarantee. And the best part is the fees are included at checkout, so there's no weird price jumps at the end. So you don't think you're getting this great deal. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, why is this costing me so much at the end? And you can pick out the best seats in the house for the best price. So 2 taps, you're done. Take the guesswork out. Get great seats in minutes to any event you want to go to. Buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKDOWN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account. Redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need to have the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location, an issue Joe Ryan had today. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I have been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. One of the big things when you need to find the right person, we talk about often. Justin was my 3rd attempt at a co-host, and boy, I needed one. I knew I needed one. If we had maybe just talked to each other since we were friends, we would have figured it out earlier. But that's sometimes where Indeed needs to come in. You need someone who can step up and bring that right person right to the forefront. Sometimes you can miss what's right in front of you. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs, and listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get the job premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Make sure you are continuing the conversation long after the podcast is over, long after the games are over, by checking out the Everydayer Club. You get access to ad-free versions of the show on any audio platform you listen on, and you also get access to the private listener Discord that includes other Guardians fans, listeners to the show, Jeff, myself, and you can also check out other Discord channels. So if you're a Browns fan, Cavs fan, you're waiting for LeBron to come home or not, you can go talk about that on the Discord too after your favorite show is over. Go to LockedOnGuardians.supercast.com. Check the link in your show notes for more. Shout out to, Everydayers. I ran into so many Everydayers at the game, actually. So everybody had a good time at the game on Monday night. Mike, Bob, a couple folks from LA who were coming in that I know are flying back out. They saw the Pirates series in this game. So they saw the walk-off home run by Bazana, and they saw this game. So I'm like, 2 out of 4 ain't too bad. Also want to shout out our buddy Arthur, who I know is having some tough health issues in the he's in the ER. So want to wish Arthur. Yeah,
he's the one who gave me the info. But he's passed on a lot of good info. He's where I found out about Pablo Figueroa recently. Passed on to me about signings. He's first to know a lot of things.
Yeah, he's online a lot and gets us a lot of information and tracks a lot of things for us. So you've probably seen a spreadsheet that he's kept track of for the Guardians. So we wish Arthur the best. And also didn't realize I have a lot of family who listens to. I had my grandfather's funeral over the weekend, and I had uncle Rick and Aunt Wendy both told me they listen to the show regularly, and
my uncle Rick listens as well. So we have a lot of Uncle Ricks that listen to the
shout out to the Uncle Ricks of the family.
Shout out to the Uncle Ricks.
Yeah. Shout out to and all the people there. Joe Ryan in this game, by the way, 4 home runs in his last 7 starts for the Twins, and then he gave up 6 in this one. So they really tagged him pretty hard in this. And I also want to point out too, like this obviously doesn't fix everything, right? Like you're not going to have those kind of nice, like Patrick Bailey and Chase Delauto. Chase Delauto looks incredible right now.
Yes.
He's been good since he came off the IL, but like we'll see how long this sustains Rhys Hoskins for, but he might have a job longer than you think because of the Kyle Manzardo situation. But this is as fun as this game was. I don't want to be a wet blanket, Jeff, but as fun as this game was, it only matters if you capitalize on it. Like you can't take anything out of it because like either Joe Ryan, even if Joe Ryan was or wasn't tipping pitches, you got to feel good about what you did, your approach. You got to think about, okay, what made our approach so good that day? And you've got to try to replicate it. And you've got to, try to build off it. Because if you don't build off it, then this is just one fun night. And, as we all know, in our 20s, you can have one fun night. But when you get your 30s and 40s, that one fun night, you're looking for a little bit more than that. So, hot girl summer is fun for some people, but we all want a nice cuffing season come October, right? So I don't know if any of that is going to hit the audience that we're talking to. No comment. You got to. My point is, you got to build off it. You can't just sit there and say, "Well, what we did tonight was great, and we're going to do this." Like just hit home runs, like Al Woods. It's like it's hard. Like just maybe that one resonates with the audience a little better. I don't know.
Well, and then I brought this up for the break, and something worth pointing out. So on Sunday, the Twins got hammered 10-1, and Zebby Matthews only went 3 innings, so they've given up 23 runs over the course of 2 games. A team that has a weak bullpen that's supposed to have a supposed to have a bullpen game tomorrow had a starter go 3 innings and 4 innings, and I mean they were counting on Joe Ryan.
Which is why he was out there for 4 innings, by the way.
Yeah, that's people are like, why are they leaving him out there? It's like they had to. They didn't have a choice. I don't know how this changes things. I think they're still going to do like the Anderson, who's the second player in there.
They just got off waivers from the Red Sox like a week ago, by the way.
So they're tomorrow. I mean, which historically this team, after a big performance, and then when they face guys who are like, they definitely sometimes it feels like that's why we all expected them, honestly, to perform well against Skeens yesterday. They seemed to rise up when they face a better pitcher, and honestly they had
chances,
and honestly they did. they just made some dumb mistakes
themselves.
But looking at performance, I mean this hurts the Twins if they're gonna try to go bullpen tomorrow, because they've had 2 games in a row, and then if they do go bullpen game tomorrow, then that sets up for win. Then their bullpen's going to be really gassed for Wednesday and Thursday. Like this could really, they've lost 4 in a row, so that's going to bear watching too, because that's a team that even though again, I know you're like, well, it's 8th best in runs. It's still scored the most runs of any team in the American League, and
their bullpen is horrendous.
Well, and their staff isn't grand, but still I mean they're slipping out of the wild card. So offense doesn't guarantee you anything as much as a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, I would love more offense, but it's not like, having the best offense guarantees you postseason. It's like, for as much as people scream about lack of scoring runs, it's like run prevention, good pitching, that stuff matters as well. With the loss today, the Twins are now 3 games out of the wild card, tied with Baltimore, who luckily lost today. But yeah, I mean, Boston. Finally. Remember Boston, Left for Dead Boston, who's now won 14 in a row. They're currently the final wild card spot.
Crazy.
And Cleveland's a game up, I think, on them because they've won, again, 14 games in a row. So let's see how far Boston can go. But yeah,
without Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony, which is just crazy. Yeah, who would have thought? I don't think they've had Trevor Story for a while. Is that right too?
It doesn't matter. Trevor Story hasn't. Trevor Story isn't Trevor Story.
No, they've paid him a lot of money to do.
I'll always remember, because when that happened, I'm like, I don't like this. There's a lot of scary stuff underneath the data with him, and there's a few people who always acted like they were smarter than everyone else, like the smartest dudes in the room, which I know people
like the Anthony Santander signing, by the way.
Yes, and I know there's people who are be like, that describes you, Jeff. That's fine. You can if you feel like that. I mean, at least I'm willing to accept it. I'm wrong. But like
Yeah.
these are people who never accept when they're wrong. It's like, I think this is a great signing by Boston, but no, I think Trevor Story is just about done.
Bad.
So, but even like you and I, liked Patrick Sandoval. He has not worked out great for them this year. It's an interesting team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it, but yeah, it's Boston recovering has just blown up the trade deadline because everyone assumed they were dead. And it's like, okay, how do we get Sonny Gray? How do we get Chapman? Like now it's like, oh, there isn't anything. So it's going to be fun to watch.
It is. All right. Well, we didn't get to the Kyle Manzardo situation. He was not in the lineup in this game, and it was against the righty. And then David Fry played first for the first time all season. And there's also, we've also seen Gabby Arias taking ground balls at first base. I heard about that, which is complicates things even more. So is Kyle Manzardo in trouble? Should we start thinking about other things there? We'll talk about that and where the trades could come from. We still got a good trade proposal. I think makes a ton of sense from Jeff. We'll see if the Guardians can get on board. He predicted the Patrick Bailey trade, so I want to see Jeff go 2 for 2 with this one. Dingers. We're all about the dingers right now because the Guardians hit a bunch of them, right? If you think you know who's hitting a home run today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Very easy to play. You make your pick to who you think is going to hit a home run in their next game. And if they do, you're right. You get a profit boost to use in your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the rest of the Major League Baseball season. Another fun way to stay engaged is daily dingers. So every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team like the Guardians, you're keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Everyone's got someone capable of going deep. Maybe it's Petey Halpin twice. Maybe it's Rhys Hoskins twice. The first guys to do that since in the same game since Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez. So Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez, Petey Halpin, Rhys Hoskins. Virtually the same thing. If corporate asked, these would be the same picture. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before the first pitch. I told you to take guys like James Wood out in Colorado. I don't believe at this point he's homer, but I know CJ Abrams did. So always a good pick. But the Twins bullpen is gassed because they got crunched on Sunday and Monday. So maybe the Guardians can tee off again on the Twins' miserable bullpen for a bullpen game. So if you're ready to play your games today, join all the action on FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers. Make your free pick on who is hitting homer, play ball, and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Make sure you download all of the episodes on your favorite audio platform, wherever you get podcasts. Keeps the show in your feed every single day. And subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Jeff, I haven't checked our subscriber count on YouTube. I will say I should have had these prepared, so we'll have to do them tomorrow. But we have like 4 or 5 new Apple podcast reviews that we have to get to. So shout out to
over
you.
300 then, so that's nice.
Yeah, we're there was like 4 more. It takes a while from the process. So shout out to everybody who was nice enough to go and leave a review. I know someone left a review about the clanging mic sound. I think I have it fixed. I haven't heard it in the last 2 episodes. So
MD Weber, the Minio. And then let's see, Todd F, who I bet that's Todd Falkenstein. Sorry, Todd, I probably butchered your name. And
that's
and
every day or Todd Falkenstein, who was
it is. That's why I know the show. And then we also had Old Schoola who popped in. So we had 5 new reviews. Thank you all. That got us up over 300. Yeah. And it's always nice to bury the ones that are like not as fun. So we appreciate how kind it is. Because it's but the thing is, even when they take their personal attacks, from what we've been told, that still helps us in the end. So they're not accomplishing what they hope. But speaking of not accomplishing, Kyle Manzardo.
Yeah, no publicity is all publicity is good publicity. Is that what they say? Right?
I believe. So.
I do. I hate to, again. I don't want to throw a wet blanket on the game, but we need to talk about it. I think we need to talk about it because Manzardo's been in a nasty slump, and again, David Fry starts at first base for the first time all year on Monday against the right-hander Joe Ryan. And then you hear things about Gabby Arias taking ground balls at first base. Like, I think it just makes you wonder, like, what's the future here? Because Manzardo can't go. Would you rule out? I'm not gonna bring up the Ralphie Velasquez. I know people are gonna comment and say that.
Yeah, as I say, people are gonna ask you about
I know. It. I don't think that's the way you go for this season, but like, I kind of wonder, like, is there a return trip to AAA in the cards for Kyle Manzardo at this point?
Knowing this team, no.
Are we reaching Bo Naylor territory?
No. Knowing this team, no. Because the difference is, like, Bo Naylor was just straight bad for, like, what? Like, well,
minus
for,
2 Septembers.
I mean, to start the year though, he came out just ice cold for over 2 months plus. The thing that's going to save
That's true.
Manzardo is like March and April, he was miserable. It was a 49 WRC plus. May and June, he was like the best hitter on the team at a 134 and 137. He's at a negative 11 right now. And he looks bad. He's swinging, he's expanding. It's all of those things. But when does this team ever do like a knee jerk thing? Like we're not even done with the month of July. Like Kyle Manzardo is going to be here and he would have to essentially be terrible all the way into August. Like I just, this team doesn't tend to knee jerk in that way, especially with their young players. I mean, we talked about like before he got hurt, it's like Chase DeLauder. I was saying like, maybe it'd be like, cause he was bad. He was like the second or third worst hitter on the team by WRC plus. If you got rid of like his hot start and just went over from there, like, and now he's like the best hitter on this team. So it's like sometimes it's good
than he started out with.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good to get the restart. I think like sometimes for players who are in a funk, in some respects, I think the injury was the best thing that happened to Lauder because he was starting to show signs of getting out of the funk before the injury. But it's like with someone like Manzardo, it's like he has carried extreme K rates all year, which is not what I expected for him, honestly, as a prospect. His strikeout rate,
the opposite.
Yeah, even when he was like his best month was 26%, but other than that, like his other month was 33. Like his strikeout percentage this month is actually a second best of
and his report, the minors, was like, he's gonna walk, he's gonna hit doubles, maybe he'll hit 20 home runs, and it's more like, well, he strikes out a lot, and sometimes he gets 20 home runs.
Yeah.
Like,
and then go
ahead.
Just one last point. It's like this month is actually his second lowest strikeout percentage, so he's actually striking out less this month than previous months, and he's also carrying a 138 BABIP, which a 288, a 366, a 292. So
you got the ball hard still.
Yeah, so it's like the underlying data shows that like he's also got an 089 average. So if you add 160 points, then he's back to being like a 250 hitter, which is what's expected. So I get it. I mean, I agree. Like the thing that throws me here is I look at his K percentage and I feel like because this is the thing, when a guy is performing poorly, everything is magnified. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's striking out the most he's ever. Yeah, it's like he's striking out the most he's ever struck out for Manzardo. And then I look at the data and it's like, well, no, that's not true. Like this is actually his second lowest amount of strikeouts. So it feels like there's a degree of bad luck. I think sometimes giving a guy a day off and just giving him a chance to like reset is part of it. So I think fans want to dump him. I mean, fans have wanted to dump him all year. He's top 5 negative comments this year. It's Bazana, Arias, Tanner, Bailey, and Manzardo are 5 most negative people that are most negative comments in our comments. But I mean, even when he was playing well in May and June, people were like, he strikes out, send him to Double A. It's like, I think he's going to get a long leash. I got to be honest.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what's available to deadline, which is there isn't going to be much. But
I don't think they're going to. They this team is built around its young players. They're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at Jake Bauers as an example, who's the 6th best first baseman in baseball by WRC plus, at 135 coming in.
He was never going to be that here. It's the same thing. Like I love Yandy, but he's never going to get any loft here. Like that.
But like Manzardo, the same thing with Manzardo. It's like you also got to think long term here too. Like I'm not saying like not knee jerk, but like I think there's a question here long term. Like what is he going to be? Because last year he was fine, but I'm sorry, like right now his OPS is like I don't think it's any better than Kwan's. Like it's not good. Like you can't. I understand like having hot streaks and all that, but the guy's got an OPS of 649, and Stephen Kwan, who's not been good this year until the month of July, has a 643 OPS. You can't tell me that Manzardo's having a good year. He had
I'm not saying he's having a good year. He had 2 good months. It's not a couple good weeks. He had 2 good months. He had 2 months at 130s, and then the problem.
But that his OPS is that low means he's had a lot more.
Well, it's because March and April was like sub 50, and then this month has been terrible.
At some point, we can't keep cutting up the numbers either. I think we have to eventually look at the whole picture. And right now, I have to ask, like for Manzardo's long term, I think, whenever games get played in 2027, whether it's April, May, June, the All-Star game is the first game of the year. I don't know. I think you have to start wondering, like it's not this year to me, unless if something drastic has to happen. Next year, Ralphie Velasquez's footsteps get real big, though. Next year, not this year.
Then you got the DH spot open, which is always going to be. That's the thing. Like they've set up the situation for next. I mean,
this team would be better if you have the Kyle Manzardo you wanted and the Ralphie Velasquez. The team would be a better team. But unfortunately, right now, I can't sit there and say like I don't know if I can say Kyle Manzardo, yes, you are for sure the first baseman next year, because to me, he hasn't done anything to earn it. He hasn't done anything to earn it right now.
A year ago he did, and like I said, this year it's not been great. Like I said, the ups and the downs are definitely not there. But the way they give time and patience to hitters.
Would you take Luis Garcia at the deadline from the Nationals? Like, he might be available.
Not at his cost. I don't think he's worth the cost he's going to cost to get.
And I also want to point this out too. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, Ryan O'Hearn would look great in Cleveland." Okay, you came into the year, and I would have said this at the beginning of the year, because Manzardo last year was good. I was hoping he was going to build on last year. You came into the year saying Chase Lauder, you're our right fielder, and Kyle Manzardo, you're our first baseman. Well, guess what? Those are the two positions that Ryan O'Hearn plays. If you have this year's Chase Lauder in 2025's Kyle Manzardo, nobody cares what Ryan O'Hearn is doing, because this team, but Kyle Manzardo is not performing. So there was never room for that here. And if you add him instead of Rhys Hoskins, like, okay, fine. But then you have another left-handed hitter, and everyone complains about that. But it's just, it's the same reason why, Lane Thomas didn't come back. And it's the same reason why not the same reason why Rob Refsnyder went out west. That was a different reason too.
It's more Austin Hayes.
Yes, Austin Hayes. Yes. They didn't see the playing time here. So there's just, I'm looking at the first baseman, like Gavin Sheets is at a 107. Like, I feel like I'd take Gavin Sheets for the rest of the year. I would take.
But that's not how they operate. They're not going to. Because
you can't come back next year with Manzardo and say, prove it again next year. Like,
no,
I don't know.
That's not how they operate with young players. Like, it's the whole debate with it, but it's not how they operate. They never really, if a guy has come up and had that great year, like, there's not Rocchio and Arias and guys like that have been sent down, but they hadn't had the breakout year first. Like, it's essentially his position. And
he's got 1,000 career plate appearances, and he's got a 102 WRC plus for his career, but also, you need more from your first baseman than a 102. I'm sorry, you do. You can't dedicate.
I mean, at the same time, I'll take a 102 at first base, because I'll take a 102 anywhere. Is kind of where I am after years. But it's like,
I think it's okay to expect better, though.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's the thing. It's just like that the start to the year torpedoed a lot of his stats, and because July can't kill it that much, even though it's been terrible because it's such a small sample. So it just, that start of the year, April and March was terrible. And then he, was great. And we know they're going to give him every opportunity. They're not going to replace him. Like I said, the only place I feel like we could see them angle for a free or a trade hitter is left field. Just because that is not
play first base.
Yeah. Because that's a position that is not defined right now. Right. Like, that is an ill-defined position for them.
Why? Because Quan can be in center.
Yeah,
is that why?
And you're not going to trade for a center fielder, because there's no center field. It's harder to find a center fielder than it is a catcher anymore. It's the hardest position to fill in baseball.
By the way, great. The defense didn't get much to talk about, but that catch by Quan was incredible.
That was great. I mean, every time he's gonna, like I said, he's probably gonna win another Gold Glove. Probably is that utility role.
We talked about Quan yesterday. I think we're back to the point where you're going to tender him a contract next year. I think we were in non-tender territory, and now I think you're back in tender territory
again. Like everything else, it's like, can he maintain? Is this a good month, or is it more?
Your quick trade idea. We got a couple minutes. Your trade.
Yeah. So this is just a completely random thing, but with all the reports, looks like the catcher market is going to be one with a lot of teams that have needs. The White Sox just lost their catcher. They're probably going to look to trade for one, but the Dodgers have a needed catcher. And, I couldn't help
because Will Smith's going to be out till September, right?
Yes. And Dalton Rushing is not the strongest defender. I feel like maybe I'm going to eat my words with that.
And he pisses them off to no end. He pisses that team off so much.
He's had some moments. But I think, it made me wonder, like, would they want Bo Naylor, who can call a good game, who could do some things? And, they just went out and added Seth Halverstrom, who's a very high velocity, but has no idea where the ball is going, like taking some gambles on ceiling. And that made me wonder if they would, look at something like, could you do, people want to be like, oh, I already know what you're saying, Jeff, because you always bring up the same guy, Alex Call. So, get your platoon outfield bat that's an upgrade on what you currently have. Like, that was my idea. It's like, could you do Naylor for Call? They get the young catcher who has a little bit more background. They've got so many young outfielders. I know then, the problem is like all their young guys and all the guys in the minors are left-handed. So you are losing the platoon advantage. So maybe they wouldn't consider it. But if you're the Dodgers, how much platooning do you really need? Like you're really going to bench, Tucker for him. So
Teoscar, Tucker.
Yeah. I mean, Tucker's a righty, so it wouldn't even work there. So it doesn't quite fit.
No,
So
Tucker's lefty.
Tucker's lefty. Teoscar, is a righty.
Teoscar, yes.
Yeah.
So
we got to run. We're right up against it. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Let me know about the trade idea and your trade ideas. Go ahead and be angry at me for my Manzardo comments and put those below because all comments help. And thank you all for joining us. And tomorrow's show, we'll talk about game 2 and more trades. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.